Friday, July 14th, 2017. St. Tammany Parish Fire and Rescue receive a 911 call reporting black smoke billowing from a house in a heavily wooded area in Lacombe, Louisiana. The house, engulfed in flames, belongs to District 12 Fire Chief Steve Krentel.
That day was no different than any other day.
She got up, she laid his clothes out, which she did every day. She made him a peanut butter sandwich for a mid-morning snack. She took her dog in her arms and followed him out to his car.
She would stand there, I'd roll the window down, the dog would put his front paws on the window, and I'd say, "See you later, poo-poo head."
He gets in the car and drives away. He then calls his mother to check on her.
I got off the phone with Mom. I had called Nanette and spoke to her the rest of the way to work.
So that was his last conversation with her. That would have all happened in the morning.
He jumps into his truck and he is just speeding as fast as he can go, which is about 17 miles away.
There was a dash camera in the chief's vehicle.
And you could see the fear in his eyes.
The two of them went through their gate onto the property, and you can see the house is already fully involved.
My adrenaline was going 100 times more than even on a regular call. So I was nervous, I was panicked, I was worried about, was she home?
The carport collapsed and the roof caved in, and he saw her vehicle parked there.
I did not feel that Nanette would have gone off jogging or wandering through the woods. She would have been in her vehicle.
I'll never forget when he described those firefighter colleagues walking over to him.
As soon as they got there, I knew that what they were fixing to tell me. They advised me that they had located her body.
Nanette Krentel's body was found in the master bathroom.
The body was burned beyond recognition.
You could tell that it was a woman. The fire had altered all of her dental work, so this took quite a bit to identify her.
Ultimately, we were able to make a positive identification based on DNA.
We had no clue what caused the fire. We had no clue of anything.
Initially, I think he thought that maybe there was an accidental fire that ignited somehow somewhere in the house, and she loves her pets so much
that she had gone back into the house realizing it was on fire.
That she was running around trying to chase her animals.
And maybe the smoke inhalation took over.
And perished from staying in there, from trying to gather up her babies.
In a case like this one, you want to know why this young lady was not able to escape this fire.
Hey, this is Steve. Can you get a call as soon as you get this, please?
When Steve called me, he said Nan was killed in a house fire. She had been overcome by smoke.
As news of Nanette's death spread, friends and family members were convinced the fire wasn't accidental, that Nanette had been the victim of foul play.
Probably about 6:30, my dad called. He said, "Kim, Nanette's dead." I hung up the phone and I just yelled, "They effing killed her," and just broke down.
When you're married to a firefighter or fire chief for more than 20 years, you know there is no way she went back into that house to go get those pets.
In today's homes with smoke detection and smoke alarms, this would be a suspicious fire.
How does a grown woman, a healthy grown woman, not get out of a fire in the middle of the day? I don't understand.
I am a certified fire investigator. I was asked by several of the investigators if I could help them conduct this investigation.
The state fire marshal secures the scene overnight to preserve any evidence left in the ashes.
I arrived the morning after the fire, the first thing I did was documented the scene by walking around, photographing the exterior.
Jones walks his canine through the remains of the Krentel property, and the dog alerts in 2 different locations.
She made alerts in the living room, she made alerts in the master bedroom.
Indicating the presence of an accelerant.
It smelled like gasoline.
The family came a few days after the fire, and they did go out to the scene.
The house was burned to the ground. Ashes covered everything.
We pulled up and I was immediately angry. The gate was open, nothing was secured.
I don't know what time they left that day, but they left the scene, and there was no security left on the scene. There was areas where it had not been gridded or cleaned up.
Jones says he recovered key pieces of evidence that authorities had failed to recover from the ashes, including
several weapons or firearms that were throughout the house, a DVR that was part of the recording system for this house, both cats, one in the master bedroom and one in the master closet.
One of the firemen came over to me and pointed out where they had found Nan's body. And I saw an area that was a little lighter in color. And he said that's where Nanette's body had been found.
Harley was right near her. It's like they took Nanette's remains and left the rest and didn't even try to look through it.
There was an AR-15 lying on the burnt bed.
They brought it up to the sheriff's office.
We reached out to the Louisiana State Fire Marshal's office and the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Department. They didn't address the family's specific allegations, but released these statements.
You don't release the scene to anybody until you're done, unless you're not treating it as a homicide, in my experience. I've been a prosecutor for 15 years, and I have never heard of evidence being treated that way, because once it's released, your chain of custody for that evidence is gone.
As fire investigator Richard Jones and family members recover more and more potential evidence, the St. Tammany Sheriff's Office returns to the Krentel property.
They did go back in with warrants and re-secured the site, gridded it off, and began sifting all of the debris. But that did not happen in the immediate aftermath.
During that time, could evidence been removed or tampered with? Of course.
It's our understanding from sources that there were 2 sources of ignition. One in the living room by a DVR, where the information from the surveillance cameras would have gone, and also the other point being in the bedroom.
The investigators that were involved believed that somebody set this fire.
The sheriff's office detectives never directly said to me anything about suicide. The only concern I had with that is their collecting of evidence didn't appear that they were treating it as a homicide.
1 week after her death, as Nanette's family and friends gather for her funeral, a bombshell drops. A leaked copy of the St. Tammany Coroner's Report is published online.
We thought she just died in the fire.
As soon as the 4 o'clock news came on,
Everybody's phone just started blowing up.
It was almost as if everyone was looking at each other like, you did this, who did this?